So we're now streaming live on YouTube. Well, welcome. We have Stefan, I think is new, and Nuria is new to the Zoom class. Emilio, welcome back. Bienvenido de nuevo. Gar. And that's it, I think, for now.
Thank you, Jim.
So as I was just mentioning about this neighborhood, I think it was possibly originally kind of an Italian immigrants, maybe 100 years ago. And it's called the Mission because there is a mission, no? And of San Francisco is very near. And it's one of the first Western European establishments in San Francisco. And now it's a very Latino neighborhood, especially where I am. And usually 2/3 of the talking that you'll hear in the street is in Spanish. So that's one reason why I chose it, is I wanted to try to learn Spanish. And of course, living in the neighborhood wasn't enough. That's why I moved to Spain. But now I come back and I could talk to my neighbors and more or less they understand me. That's good.
You should be coming back, right? You should be having your...
Yeah, but I'm going to go to... Yes, I am. Tuesday, I go to New York, and Friday, arriving Saturday, I'll go to France first. And I'm going to attend to this project in the south of France at the Moulin des Chaves.
Oh, yeah, I will see that. Yeah.
And then I'll work my way to Madrid. So I figure I'll make it to Madrid maybe definitely by mid-February.
Mid-February. Okay.
Yeah,
Are you going to be doing a retreat in that French place? Will you be doing?
No, I'm not going to do a retreat. I'm going to help them house their staff.
Okay.
So a little more seva, a little service first. And maybe I'll do a couple of days of self-retreat, but I'm not going to join one of their retreats yet. Because their season doesn't even start until April, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're going to be doing some trainings there, I think, first. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, okay, I'm going to bring Saladana a little bigger here. Oh, look at all those people there. Welcome to Saladana. Thank you for coming. That's a different angle. I like it. Martina is quite capture everybody. Did you organize the Zabutons to fit into the camera?
No, we did not, but actually it was Catherine's excellent work to organize things like this. So Catherine is over there.
Very good visual, spatial intelligence there. Of course, there could be people outside of the camera that I don't even know are there. Well, anyways, I'm glad you're here. This is something I've experienced in my, I guess, going on 7th year. It's the 7th year? Wow. Of leading meditations in Madrid, is that the beginning of the year, there's often more people, and then it sort of shrinks as the year goes by. But hopefully this time we'll stay strong. So just a little preview of what we'll talk about today. So we have been going over the 7 factors of awakening, which I'll review after the meditation. And we are on the 6th factor, which is Samadhi. And Samadhi is a Pali word and a Sanskrit word that can be translated as stillness or concentration or unification. And give me 1 second. There we go. And in Buddhism, having a still, quiet mind, having a concentrated mind is essential to the path of liberation from suffering because it allows us to see clearly, to see things as they really are with less confusion. And it's the only, ancient philosophy that I know that really focuses, no pun intended, but focuses on focusing as a part of the path. And you'll find this word samadhi in many of the Buddhist lists, and in the Noble Eightfold Path, it's the eighth factor. And so what I thought I would offer, just as because in 30 minutes in a Sunday, it's pretty hard to get concentrated. We might have moments of it, but especially after you've had a busy weekend and busy day, it's especially hard. But I've been practicing with and also noticing from a teacher in the Theravada tradition, a young fellow, that one way that we can do it, and the Buddha pointed to this, is to still the body. And so this is something we can consciously do, right? Where we can still or quiet the body, maintain the body in a still position. Don't move. Try not to move. And focus on staying still, relaxing into that still body. So we don't want to be stiff and rigid. No, not at all. We want to relax into a still posture. Everybody's good with that word still, right? Because it's a weird word that in English can also mean other things, but it's quieto, I think, in Spanish.
Quietud.
Quietud. Thank you, Emilio. Quietud. And so with this body, this cuerpo that's quietud, quiet, still, we then notice that or connect to that or become aware of the stillness of the body. So on one hand, we're quieting the body, stilling the body with intention, and then we're experiencing the still body. And this will still the mind. It's so beautiful. This is the fourth factor of the Anapanasati, where we're stilling the formations of the body. We're stilling the movement. We're stilling the waving around, moving around. And then we're using that stillness to still the mind. Does that make sense? And please don't expect it to, bring full enlightenment at the end of 30 minutes. This is just a practice, right? We're just going to experiment with it. So I will give a little guidance during the meditation, but then I'm also going to emphasize this again, just so you can give it a try. I found it pretty helpful. Anyways, welcome to all of you who came on Zoom, who I didn't have a chance to say hi to directly. We'll start the meditation. Are there any questions? Preguntas, dudas? Okay. So we're going to go for 30 minutes, 31, 32 minutes. So I'll put this where I can see it. And so here we go. So first step, finding our comfortable posture, finding our body, our form, our physical form, our rupa. And so we drop the awareness, our attention into the body. Feeling it, experiencing it, knowing it's there. And this is such a useful little practice that we can do all day long. Even for a moment, it has transformative benefits. Creating this embodied presence, connected to the body, unified with the body, the mind and the body, yoga. And if you need to make a couple adjustments to the body, feel free, because we'd like to stay still now and not move. So the first step in the Anapanasati, the mindfulness of in and out breathing, is to notice the breath. The way the instructions read is, if breathing in long, we know we are breathing in long. If breathing out long, we know we are breathing out long. And the same instructions with short. And it's not so important whether it's long or short or however the quality of the breath is, but that we know the breath, we are aware. So in this body, in this posture, we direct towards the breath our attention. And you can follow the breath wherever and however it's comfortable for you. There's no one specific way. So maybe you follow the whole breath in the whole body. Or maybe you follow the breath at the belly, at the chest, or at the nostrils. Maybe you follow the rhythm of the breath. Whatever is easy for you, is comfortable for you, and keeps your attention. Don't want it too easy. Just knowing your breath, long, short, deep, shallow, fast, slow, no importa. If it's helpful, you can label your experience, the breath, saying to yourself lightly, Breathing in, breathing out. And when thoughts arise, we simply notice the thought. Maybe we label that thinking. We let it go and we come back to the breath. Again and again, no importa cuántas veces. It's not important how many times. We just keep coming back to the breath. Gently but firmly, kindly, without judging, without criticizing, maybe with a little curiosity. So now for the third step in the anapanasati, the mindfulness of in and out breathing, we become sensitive to the body. We become aware of the body. Much like we did at the very beginning, where we infuse or fill our body with awareness. The breath is still there. When we breathe in, we know the body, we feel the body. When we breathe out, we are sensitive to the body. So it's a full body breath awareness. Aware of the breath and aware of the breath in the body, aware of the bodily sensations. Now the fourth step in the Anapanasati. Breathing in, we calm the bodily formations, the Sankara. Breathing out, we calm the bodily formations. So one way we can interpret this is relaxing, stilling the body. It's movements. Just try to keep the body still. And then experience that stillness. Relax into that stillness. And again, when thoughts come, you don't need to feed them. Just notice them gently, let them go, and come back to relaxing into the stillness of the body. And if the body moves just a little, if it waves a little bit in one direction or another, it's okay, no pasa nada. We just experience that and then try to gently calm it down, relax it, still it, quiet it. All the time aware of the breath in the body. And aware of the sensations in the body. But not grasping anything, not pushing anything away. Just observing, noticing, knowing your experience. Now, if you like, for the remaining 10 minutes or so of our formal practice, you can shift to Vipassana and let whatever calls your attention be your object or pay attention to. Sounds, sensations, thoughts, the breath. Noticing how things arise, stay a while and go, impermanence, anicca. Or you can continue with the in and out breathing, being aware of the bodily formations and calming, quieting, stilling the bodily formations. And maybe piti will arise. Sometimes translated as rapture, but also euphoria. Often just a physical tickling, hormigueos, cosquilleos in the body, normally pleasant. And we know that. Breathing in, we know that piti is present. Breathing out, we know that piti is present. Holding the body still and noticing that stillness can sometimes produce this tickling, hormigueo sensation in the body. Or it might be in the mind, a happiness, a sukha in the mind, a joy, alegria. And we notice that, the sixth step in the Anapanasati. So, no matter how this meditation has been, what might have occurred in the past, can always start again with each moment. So let's redirect or direct or maintain our attention back into the body. Just in case. Reconnecting with the body, reinfusing the body with awareness, with attention. Maybe noticing how the body feels different now. Might be some body parts sleeping. Maybe a little pain here and there, no importa. Maybe even extending your attention, the awareness a little beyond your physical form, beyond your posture, into your energy field. Maybe feeling your skin. And then drawing that energy and bringing it to your heart center, your chest area. I often put my hands right there to create a sensation of contact. And then thanking yourself for your practice, for the goodness of your practice, for coming to Saladana or to this Zoom call or YouTube, and taking care of yourself, connecting with yourself in this way. Such a nurturing, caring, loving act, gesture. And then thanking the others in our Sangha here today for their practice, the goodness of their practice, for supporting our practice. And then allowing this goodwill, this gratitude, this love to extend out in all directions, touching all life. And when you hear the sound of the bell, just notice what comes up for you, if anything. Maybe there'll be something in the body, maybe something in the mind. We just notice. Thank you all very much for meditating with me, with us. I'm so lucky I get to lead, right? I get to lead the meditation a little bit, which I enjoy very much. And then I get to meditate in a group. And believe me, I take those moments of quiet very much to heart. I like it very much. So thank you. So I think what we'll do is first open it up to see if there are any questions. And yes, feel free to move now, right? Good time to stretch. Now, we will do a little walking meditation in a few minutes, but first, I'm just curious if anybody has any questions or comments, wants to reflect. And this might be about the practice that we did today, or it could be your practice at home, or anything along those lines. You can just put your hand up if you have a question, or yes, Lara, good to see you.
It's not a question, it's a funny fact that the minute you said, stay still, I started to get an itchy body everywhere, like an itchy neck and my head, and how funny, yeah.
How did you manage that?
I tried to acknowledge that that was happening, and I decided to wait. And what I have done in the past is I decide when I'm gonna scratch rather than doing everything automatically. So I managed to wait a little bit, but it kept on coming back. Very interesting.
Yeah. Sometimes it makes sense to just put it to rest. If you have a tickle, you have a scratch, just scratch it and, let it go. Of course, a lot of times the teachings is to just wait and see if it goes away on its own. But sometimes they take too long. It's like, okay, I'll just scratch it. Any other comments or questions? Okay. So why don't we do a little walking meditation? And then after that, we'll talk about Samadhi and about the teaching of the Buddha. And we'll use a little bit Joseph Goldstein's wonderful mindfulness book as a guide. So in case there are some people who are not familiar with the walking meditation, which, by the way, just as an aside, one of our teachers, Jose Manuel, I think he's going to maybe offer, he has an offering around walking meditation that maybe we should figure out how to get that on the website so people can connect to it. I'll talk to him about that. But in any case, so with the walking meditation, obviously we're not going for full stillness, right? Because if we did that, we wouldn't be walking. We would just be still. But we want to do it kind of as quietly as possible, right? So we do it slowly and we relax into our body, much the same way. And now our attention, our awareness goes to our feet making contact with the floor. And we pick a path of, maybe 2 or 3 meters, nothing more. We walk from one end to the other. We mindfully turn around, aware of the movement of the body turning around, and go back. And I have found that, kind of the more slowly I do it, the slower I do it, kind of the better. Sometimes can't help it, kind of go fast, but mostly if I'm slow, you don't want to go so slow that you lose your balance, right? So you're being aware of your balance as well, but just feel that. And then when the thoughts come, which of course they will, it's the same idea where we just notice there's thinking, okay, thank you, later, let them go, redirect the attention back to the feet, back to the contact with the floor. Are there any questions about that? Okay, so why don't we, I don't know how you guys are feeling, but why don't we practice this for like 8 minutes, okay? It's a little longer than we usually do. But we'll see how this works, because you can actually also develop Samadhi through a walking meditation. You can get that unification of mind. For some people, they prefer the walking from the sitting. So we'll just see. And again, open mind, curiosity, Try not to have any expectativas, no expectations. To see what happens. Okay, so I'll ring the bell when we get to 8 minutes. I'm also going to walk. Adelante. So mindfully coming back to our cushion, our chair, couch. Thank you again for your practice. It's funny what has really started to come up for me is just such an appreciation, a gratitude, even a love for you all who keep coming Sunday after Sunday. It's been almost 2 years now, right, that we've been doing it on Zoom, and some of you, Lara, Denise, you just really hung in there, and I really appreciate it. Those of you in Saladana, and Martina for being our tech person, and it just fills my heart. And what I then want to do, right, is I want to give, right? I want to express this. And the thing that's been coming up for me more and more is a retreat. It's like if 30 minutes is good or an hour and a half on Sunday is good, 5 days, 7 days is better, right? And I've been kind of inquiring a little bit about how we could do that this summer. So stay tuned. I know August is the big month where you guys all get time off, but it's also super hot a lot of places in Madrid or in Spain. But it could be August, but maybe I'm thinking more like June, July, and have like a 7-day retreat. And, maybe we bring somebody over from somewhere. I'm talking to one monk who I met through Chema, who I see is on our call. Thank you, Chema. So good to see you. Sanata Vihari, and he might be able to come. And he is such a young, just vibrant teacher. I love him. He's a real dedicated, monk. He's the real deal. But he's not sure whether he can do it. We'll see. But we have already, good teachers like Chema and Jose Manuel and others who could do it. So stay tuned. Hopefully we could see all of us in some retreat center in Spain somewhere this summer. Okay, so talking a little bit more about Samadhi. And Javier, for some reason, you are upside down for me. There you go. Oh, now you're sideways. I don't want to get too dizzy. My hair is already standing up. It's maybe because I'm upside down. I don't know. I can't get the thing to go down. Okay, so again, just a little pitch, a little sales pitch for Samadhi, for this stillness of mind, or this unification of mind, or this concentrated mind. Not only is it pleasant, and it is, these sensations of piti and sukha, this euphoria and alegria, joy, comes up when the mind is concentrated or when it's still. And it's almost like if there was an intelligent design to us humans, right? It's like nature wants our mind to be in that state. And it gives us this reward, right? It gives us this feedback, like, this is good. This is how the mind should be. It's the opposite of pain, right? We feel pain as a warning sign that we need to move away from whatever that is. We put our hand in fire, it burns, we feel it, pain, oh, okay, pull away. this is kind of the opposite of that. We get our mind quiet, we get it still, we get it concentrated, and then we get this positive feedback from the body. Now, in our modern, distracted, multitasking life, it's difficult to get the mind still like that. You know, for some of you, easier. For others, like me, you know, it took a lot of work. But I do believe it's there for all of us at some point in a continuum. And that's, of course, why I think of the retreat, because that's where it's highly probable, very probable, right? When you've got several days, got the cell phone, you know, off. In fact, a lot of times in the retreats, not only do you turn it off, but you actually give it to the teacher and they hold it. So you can't be tempted. So in our remaining minutes, we'll talk a little bit about Samadhi. I'm going to use Joseph Goldstein's wonderful, wonderful book. One thing I'm going to, I'll just say up front is Samadhi includes what is called the jhanas, jhana, Jhana in Pali. And these are states of absorption, where the mind absorbs around a unified object or unifies around an object, and the senses fall away. Even the piti and the sukha fall away. I've never reached that level, but I've read a lot about it, talked to people about it, so I'm confident it is true. Where then it's just consciousness, and some schools, like our Theravada, which mostly is what we follow, school believes that it is an essential part to the path, the jhanas, the first 4 jhanas, that the Buddha taught it that way, and that's the way to nibbana, or nirvana in Sanskrit, nibbana in Pali, the liberation, the freedom from suffering. And then there are others who believe that it is not necessary, especially in the Mahayana, the Zen tradition, the Thich Nhat Hanh tradition. They feel, and I imagine experience, that we can reach it through compassion, through goodwill, through generosity, through the sila, the ethical conduct, the bodhisattva route, right? And I'm not one to know. I just know that there are these differences of opinion. I can see how the jhana path can work, because as I understand it, and of course I've experienced it using chemicals, but I don't think that counts. I mean, it gives you an insight, but it doesn't. It's not quite the same thing. It's a little bit of cheating, taking a shortcut. But that if we can call that level of peace and stillness and quiet, our life would just be so much better, right? I mean, and then these things that come up are just not such a big deal, because we have this resource, right? A recurso that is so available. And what I have found is that even without the jhana, but going in that direction of stilling the mind, I, for one, just feel more resourced. I feel more resourced. I feel more loving. I feel more compassionate. Just a week and a half ago, my house was robbed, my garage and my office. I lost a couple bicycles and tools and stuff like that. And right across the street, kitty corner is a tent, somebody living in a tent, and then just a block away is a tent city or whatever, where, I don't know, there's like 20 tents. It's organized by the city of San Francisco, but there's a number of people that live on the street that live near me and in my street, And I know people, they get so mad at them when something goes wrong, like it's their fault and, they're bad or whatever. And I'm not bragging, I hope. I just didn't feel that. And I've been robbed occasionally in the 40 years I've lived in San Francisco many times. I've lost many bicycles. And I've just seen how my attitude has changed. And I didn't feel, in fact, I felt even more compassionate towards the people on the street. That very day, I gave some money to a guy who only had a piece of cardboard, and his pants were just, oof. And I gave him $20. I'm like, see if you can buy some pants. I just felt this tender heart, And I just believe it has to do with the practice. Nothing else has really changed in my life much, except I meditate more. And I mostly meditate doing this stillness practice, which I never really knew exactly the name. I thought it was emptiness. I thought it was awareness of awareness, but really I think it's just stillness. So I say these things not to like blow my horn, like that, but just that I'm experiencing them firsthand. I can hear about it from others. And yeah, maybe I believe it, but boy, when it happens to me, because is gilipolla, is that the word for like asshole? I think it's something like that, right? I was an asshole. I was not a nice person. So I know, I can see how I was and how I am. And it's like, what has changed? I meditate every day. I come and do this every Sunday. So anyways, I don't want it to be about me, but hopefully you will believe me because it is my experience. Okay, let's talk a little bit right from Joseph's book. And I used up a little more time than I thought I was gonna. So I'm gonna share screen with you guys. Hopefully this will work. Yes, I think it did. So you see that? Okay. So jhana. Okay, he tells us, this is Joseph in yellow. I try to come up with a system. In yellow is when I like what I've read and I've highlighted it. If it's in blue, it's a quote by the Buddha, okay? So here he tells us that the word jhana literally means to meditate. And that is the word that carry over to China. They translated it as chan, and in Japan, zen. Those words mean to meditate. Now there's this Buddha Gosa. He was a Buddhist commentator of the 15th century. Commentator, I think it's, says that jhana is the characteristic of contemplation. So it's contemplation of a single object or contemplation of the characteristics of phenomena, which is our vipassana practice. These stages of insight are sometimes called vipassana jhanas. So some people kind of think that if we do jhana or samadhi will lead to jhana, that single object, exclude everything kind of practice, that it has nothing to do with vipassana, but that is not so. One leads to the other and the other supports the first. They are connected. I think I might have read this before, but I think it's worth reading again. So these are the Buddhists, what we believe the Buddha said. So the Buddha, as alleged to have said, for one who is concentrated, one knows and sees things as they really are. Vipassana, insight, right? That's the English word we're using for vipassana, insight, seeing things as they really are, seeing their impermanent nature, seeing their selfless nature, seeing their unsatisfying nature. So Joseph talks a little bit about the jhanas. And again, this is not something that I expect any of us will experience, in a Sunday afternoon. Some people can do it in a few hours. Others take days. People like me take years, right? But we'll go through them anyway. It's kind of interesting. So the first jhana, they call it the pleasant abiding. The Buddha called it a blameless kind of happiness. And this is when there's piti and sukha. And I have experienced that. And boy, it was like I couldn't not smile if I wanted to. It felt so good. I mean, so pleasant. He talks about the second one is knowledge and vision. This again is very much connected to our vipassana practice. Further, insight and wisdom. Here's the Buddha again. Feelings are known. And we talk about feelings, it could be anything. It could be pleasant, unpleasant. It could also be emotions, sensations, whatever they are, whatever it is. Feelings are known as they arise, persist, or that is se queda. They just stay a little bit, right? And pass away. Perceptions. So what we perceive, they're known as they arise, se manifiesta, persist a little while, pass away. Thoughts, sankara, same thing. We see this and we know it like at a visceral level, that this stuff is impermanent and it's not self. These things just arise. We talk about this. It's like our mind has a mind of its own, thinks what it wants to think because of causes and conditions, and it's not who we are. And, sometimes our thoughts are crazy, but they're just thoughts, and the mind, it's almost like the mind doesn't have anything to do but to just throw up a bunch of crazy thoughts. It doesn't. It's like it can't sit still. It needs a little help. On its own, it'll just think. What did we call that before? We called that the default mode, right? The default mode of the mind is to think, is to obsess, is to plan, is to worry. That's its default mode. So we can't get mad at it either for doing that. But we can direct it. We can direct it to an object. And this is so important, it doesn't matter what object you pick. We talk about the breath, we talk about the body, but really you can pay attention to lo que sea, whatever you want, and it can work, right? You could just pay attention to your kneecap, right? Or your standing hair, just whatever it is, but just pick an object and just relax into that object. It will quiet down the mind. The fourth one is uprooting the defilements. Now this one, the defilements again are those unwholesome states, right? Which include unwholesome thoughts, unwholesome beliefs, unwholesome actions, unwholesome speech. These are the defilements, and there's a whole list. And this is one of the areas where I think I've really seen a change in my life due to my practice. Because the defilements still come up. I think one even came up today where I felt, or I had a thought of like revenge or retaliation. That's a better word, kind of retaliation. I don't know, towards a plumber or something. I can't remember what. Some random thing having to do with my job, which I really want to get out of. And then I noticed it very quick. I don't want to think like that. I don't want to reinforce that, right? And so I uprooted it. I mean, I don't know if I got the root, but I at least got the top plant. I got the weed. I got part of it, and I threw it out. Okay, this is where we're going to end pretty much with this for today, but this is so important, okay? Absorption is when mind unifies around an object. Everything else falls away, right? A beautiful state of just ultimate concentration. But this is very hard to achieve in a 30-minute sit on a Sunday or even an hour sit at home. But the momentary concentration, this we can experience every day. And this is just as important. Right? So Joseph writes, these insight practices of seeing the rise and fall of all phenomena, the ones we talked about just a bit earlier that the Buddha said, can be done either, okay? So that means either one, with strong momentary concentration or by using the meditative absorption. And in all the long-term retreats that I've been to, which have, besides the Goenka one, have been mostly these, these Western taught people who are psychologists, they're neuroscientists, they also have deep Western education as well as knowing the Buddhist teachings. And this is the emphasis they make, is on the momentary concentration, the continuity of mindfulness. Because for us, especially in the West, our brain is much more inclined towards that because we grow up multitasking. Even today in Thailand and places like that, they don't multitask like us. I mean, more now than ever, but they live a much more simple life. So the meditative absorption is much easier for them. For us, our brains are wired from day one. I mean, I don't know how old kids are nowadays, and they got a phone. Now maybe they absorb into their phone. I imagine they do. But I mean, we're just, even my daughter, she's so cute. She's like, if she's just doing one thing, her brain says, now what can you multitask with? Like she needs to do it that way. Oops. Okay, this is something I mentioned a couple weeks ago, and I just wanted to clarify, and then I'll stop with this. This path is called of dry insight. I wasn't sure exactly what the word is, but dry vipassana, dry insight. What this means is that there in the suttas, it is said that there are those who obtain liberation, obtain nibbana without the jhanas. And this is good news for those of us who may never experience the jhanas, but we can still experience nibbana. Using the wisdom path, you might say. Okay, we've got like 3 minutes for any questions or comments, feedback of any kind. And I don't know, Chema, do you want to say something? ¿Tienes algo para compartir or añadir? Oh.
Very good explanation. In Spanish, we have translation book of Goldstein.
Yeah.
The better good book of mindfulness.
Yeah. Es la misma, sí, libro.
Mismo libro en español.
Sí. It's a great, to me, it's like the Bible of mindfulness.
Okay, muchas gracias. Very good.
Thank you, Chema. And gracias por tu inglés. Thank you for your English. It's coming along very well. Anyone else want to say anything or have any questions? Anybody in Saladana? Okay, well, I can fill a couple more minutes with words, right? Like, let me. Well, you know what? I'm gonna touch on this stillness thing just one more time, or this practice with the body. I would be very curious. Did anybody find holding the body still, stilling the body? Did they find that helpful? Did anybody find that a helpful way to quiet the mind, or no? Nacho, Stefan, okay. Denise, oh, good. Lots of thumbs up. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's some people's interpretation of that fourth step in the Anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing in and out breathing. That's basically what it's saying. I can never say it in English. Tranquilizar. I can't say it. Tranquilize. Maybe it's tranquilize in English, but calm the body. And so we kind of focus on that. Like we're using a little bit of effort, a little bit of energy to still hold the body still. And then we just connect to that stillness. And that becomes the object. The object becomes the stillness, not necessarily the body, but the stillness itself. It's a little abstract. It's almost like a concept, but it's really just stillness. Body still. And then the mind will naturally follow. The mind will naturally follow. And the more still the mind is, the more still the body wants to be. There's like this feedback loop that will happen. And hopefully, I love it if you have, maybe the chance to sit for like 40 minutes, 45 minutes or something like that at home, maybe in the morning if you can, before your brain gets going, and just try it. And see if that piti starts to arise. If it does, it's not that we are trying to obtain it, or that's not the goal, but it's like a signpost. It's like a sign that says, you are going the right direction. You are heading in the right direction. That's really all it is. And it's keep on going. Keep on staying still. Okay, why don't we close with a little metta practice. And for those of you unfamiliar with metta, this is what we translate in English as sometimes loving kindness or goodwill. This is a cultivation practice, a heart practice, a bhavana, meaning to develop, where we are like we did at the very end of the first meditation, where we're developing this goodwill for ourselves and for others. So we use phrases at the beginning of this one. So I'll offer some phrases and then you can repeat them to yourself. It's funny, I pointed to the head, but you could actually repeat them in the heart. Okay, let's start this time with the benefactor. Let's start with somebody, some being, could be a pet, could be a grandparent, could be a public figure, someone you really love and admire and respect without any hesitation. Bringing that being to mind. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you live with ease. And now, I, me, yo. So this time we'll direct it to ourselves, to ourselves. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be safe. May I live with ease. Okay, and now the difficult person. So this is anybody that comes to mind where, maybe there's a little resentment, a little hurt, somebody said something or didn't say something that we wanted. Imagine that being here in front of us. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you live with ease. And lastly, all beings in all directions without exception. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be safe. May all beings live with ease. And finally, in the tradition of renunciation, of letting go, of generosity, we'll offer up the fruit of our practice today, the teachings, our Buddha nature, and our Sangha. Offer these gems up to the benefit of all beings. May all beings be happy and peaceful, healthy and strong, safe and protected. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, free from war and violence, discrimination, racism, and free from coronavirus and all its variants. And may all beings find their path, find their concentration, find their Samadhi. May all beings be free. Well, thank you again for coming. So good to see you all. So good to see Saladana with a full lens of people. Just a couple quick announcements. One is about Dana. Again, this is our experiment in operating Saladana on a basis of generosity, which is the word Dana in Pali means like generosity or dar, to give. And so none of our sessions, our classes, our offerings at Saladana have any charge, any cost. We give them freely from our hearts. And you also can practice, and it's literally a practice. It's another cultivation, right? The more we do it, the better we like it. And you can also practice generosity. Those of you in Saladana, one way is you can help keep Saladana nice and clean, right? Nice and clean and organized and put things away, kind of, like it's sort of like a stillness, right? So Saladana has its stillness where things go in a certain place and everybody can contribute to that. You can also contribute financially. There's a box in the entrada there where you can leave a financial donation. And you can also now do it through transferencia or through BISM. And I believe on the board next to the biblioteca, there is the information also on our website under Donativo. You can see it. And of course, if those of you who are on Zoom, if you want to make a donation, you can also do it that way as well. And all are appreciated. We have our expenses. We're also building up a fund for some scholarships, which, just to make sure it's clear what that word means, scholarships are funds, literally dinero, that help somebody else achieve something. And so the idea that I'm going to propose to the board, to the junta, is to have a fund for people who really want to go on retreat, but don't have the funds to do it, and possibly also, this was mentioned by one of our members, or want to do a teacher training. This, I think, is also a very worthwhile thing, a teacher training, but do not have the funds, and maybe we can contribute towards that. The number for BISM is my phone number, and it's on the donativo and saladana.org. It should be right there, but it's my Spanish phone number. Yeah, you can do. Thank you, Nuria. So anyways, all is appreciated. And some of you go out, those of you present, presencial, go out to dinner often afterwards. Everybody's invited. I hope people do that. And Nacho, Chema, Martina, any announcements?
Yes, actually, I have one announcement, and it's that finally, Bhante Bodhidharma won't be able to come in April because of the situation with coronavirus and his age. So if it's okay for the Sangha, we would try again next year to do it physically. Until then, we will be holding an online retreat the weekend from the 18th till the 20th of March.
Okay. And you know, Nacho, with the new Google Calendar, which I just love how functional it is, put that stuff there.
Sure thing.
You know what
these
I mean?
are news from this week, so I haven't had the time for it, but I will totally do it. Thank you.
Yeah. And for all of you, so the Google Calendar that's on the Saladana website, every teacher now has access to it. And so then they can post their offerings there, and then you can see them, including the online offerings. That calendar will be for everything, whether it's presencial or online. And Martina, anything or no? Keep in mind, for those of you who love the English Dhamma, that Martina and Josie offer that on Thursdays at Saladana. Okay, well, thank you all again. I hope to see you Sunday from the continent. I will at least be on the same time zone, hopefully next Saturday. Did I say Thursday? I meant to say Saturday. Saturday. Anyways, love you all. Take care. Have a good week.
Take care. Have a week.
Yeah, feel free to unmute and say goodbye. And good to see the new people. Stefan, thank you for coming.
Adiós, gracias.
Thank
Bye.
you and everyone.
Bye, Lara.
Safe travel,
Have a good
Jim.
evening.
Bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Jim. Thank you.
Thank you, Nuria, Martin.